Alright everyone, how's it going? We're gonna do something special because we feel like learning some more things about coding. So, I came up with this idea after watching many of interviews with different sites that have different coding things. Like we looked at Udemy and Code Academy and all these other free and pay sites, and I think the one we're gonna go with is this one right here, Free Code Camp. Saw many interviews with this, the guy who kind of came up with the idea of this, and his reasoning for setting up the camp as it is, in ways you do things with other people and how you progress through the code learning. Now, he points out that when you're starting with coding, unless you already have previous experience, some of the best coding to start with is more front-end coding as opposed to back-end coding, because the front-end coding, one, is more forgivable, as he says, but also is better because you can see immediate reflections of your work right away when you start with front-end stuff. So they seem to start you out with the front-end web development stuff, but let's see. Here's some people. Here we go. Yeah, so they start you out, I noticed, with these two things specifically right away. Is HTML5 and CSS. Obviously you learn, you're gonna, I guess, learn all these things. And that's kind of cool. JavaScript is the one I've heard the most about, obviously, because apparently there's some funny coding saying that if it can be programmed in JavaScript, it will be programmed in JavaScript. Or it is programmed in JavaScript, or something. If it can be, it is. Something like that. And I thought it was a funny term. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get freaking right on in here. I'm going to do this series. I'm going to do it almost every day for a little bit of time. Don't know how long yet. We're going to feel it out for the first couple sessions. But we're going to do this every day, do a couple of things. And I'm going to be posting this, making sure they are on, I'm going to stream it live on Twitch all the time. I'm going to post the videos on YouTube as well, so you can reference it or follow along whenever you want. And I'm going to do this so we can, you know, kind of talk and laugh about some of the stuff it asks you to do. And then also, so you can follow along and have fun. And you can always join me live on Twitch. I don't know what time of the day we're going to do it yet. It might be around noon. It's going to start around noon to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. I don't know when in that time frame. I'm still kind of feeling it out for that, but we're going to do that because our normal streams start at 6. So we will definitely be ending before then. Now, let's get started. Let's go ahead and sign up here. I like pressing, you know, you notice one thing about a design is right here. Because I've done a little bit of this before. This is called a call to action, right? There's this site. You have the name, the label, all the stuff, and then you have a call to action. That's why this button is so bright. It's yellow, which is, I mean, McDonald's is yellow and red. You know, those are the two kind of. Holy crap! What is that color? That gets your eyes in design. So this is a call to action, and definitely. We're going to sign up with email. We're going to go ahead and sign up with our Clutchu email. Oh, I already am associated. Okay, so we're gonna do this with a different email then. I don't know why I'm signed up. Maybe it's because when I went to check it out. I don't know. So let's sign up with this email. There we go. I'm gonna make a different password. A nice long one. Okay, we've created a brand new account. We gotta go to our new email address, so we're gonna go over here. Go to our email address here. There it is. Here it is, here it is. I was like, where is it? Okay, now I have Gmail. It went under my promotions? No. It's under my updates section in Gmail if you have that tab. Okay, my email was confirmed. I have some sort of code. I don't know what that is. Okay, so we are successfully logged in. Welcome. I'm now a part of a supportive coding community. You can code online or in person with people in thousands of cities around the world. I like how they... just a funny note about this, even though I don't think this was set up on purpose, but it's like one of those, like, TV gangs where it has, like, almost every group, you know, except I see that a few groups are missing, but there's 50-50 women and men. I don't think the coding community is quite 50-50, but it is kind of funny. So let's move on. You'll learn to code by completing coding challenges and building projects. You'll also earn verified certificates along the way. Now, I'm unsure what these certificates are for. I don't know if they're like real certificates or just like the website certificates that, you know, show you along the way. Now, I heard from one of the interviews that there are points when you're doing things like this where it tells you what kind of jobs you can apply for with the current skill level that you're at. And I find that cool, you know, that kind of a feedback, because even when, like, you're learning coding, you might know more than what you think is required for a job. Also, you know, obviously the best thing about coding is that the best way to learn is just to do, you know, which is, it's really dang convenient, right? Just convenient. Let's move on to the next three. Okay, Free Code Camp. We're an open source community of people that learn and code to help nonprofits. So I guess this is what, like a... Oh, this is the community. Okay, okay. So then you'll get experience by contributing to open source projects used by nonprofits. This will help you prepare for a coding job. Let's get started. Oh, okay, so some nonprofits can come here to look for sources for people to practice on. I like it. So, in to the nines. Not quite sure why they say that. So, let's, I guess just looking through that was our first challenge. Okay. Well, let me have to move myself over a little bit, it seems. Let's, put myself over here for now. Okay, so we got this is the first elements. Welcome to Free Code Camp's first coding challenge. You can edit code, which is this, in our text editor, which is, yep, it's definitely right here, which we've embedded into this web page. You see the code in your text editor that says h1 hello world, close h1. This is an HTML element. Okay, so they seem to... I like how they have these special things, like certain terms. They have them separated to point out to you that they are important. So, this is an element. Most HTML elements have an opening tag and a closing tag. That would be opening tag, and then closing tag is the /. There's the opening tag, closing tag. Note that the only difference between the opening and closing tags is the closing tags have a slash after their opening angle bracket. Obviously, that would indicate to that it's the end. That's what they're trying to say. Now, each challenge has a test you can run at any time by clicking the Run Test button. Once you get all tests passing, you can advance to the next challenge. To pass the test on this challenge, change our H1 element to say hello world instead of hello. Okay, so mine says hello world already somehow. Oh, this up here must indicate what level I'm on. Yep. Okay, so we're on a streak. Okay, so here we go. Run test. Nice. Tomorrow the world. I'm not quite pinky yet. I will say I'm not quite pinky. Okay, so over the next few challenges, we'll build an HTML5 app that will look something like this. Okay, that seems a little interesting. The H2 element you enter will create H2 element on the website. Okay. This element tells the browser about the structure of your website. H1 elements are often used for main headings, while H2 elements are generally used for subheadings. There are also H3, H4, H5, and H6 to indicate different and new sections. Okay. Add an H2 element tag that says cat photo app. So I know from when I learned kind of coding in high school years back that you always want to keep your stuff organized, so try and keep spaces in between lines. So we want an H2 tag, close bracket, and we want it to say cat photo app. And we close the bracket. Oop. H2, close. Okay, run test, bam. Completed. Okay, so P elements are are the preferred element for normal size paragraph text on a web. P is short for paragraph. I think we probably all figured that out. So I can create a tag like this. P. I'm a P. Tag. Close P. Oh, look at that. Right over here. That's cool. Give it the text hello paragraph. Okay. So hello world is like, I guess it's an old thing. I think it's one of the first things any programming language said, I guess. Not exactly sure what it is. So we want it to say hello paragraph. There we go. Okay. There we go. I also live dangerously. Now, commenting is a way to leave comments within your code without affecting the code itself. Commenting is also a convenient way to make code inactive without having to delete it entirely. Okay, so this is an opening comment, and this is how you close the comment. Uncomment my H1, H2. So we want to delete these. Bam. Uncomment these elements. Bam. Flawless victory. Okay, cranking along here. Remember that in order to start a comment, you need to use this, and to end it, to use this. Here, you'll need to end the comment before your H2 element begins. Comment out your H1 and your P elements, but leave H2 uncommented. Okay, so we want to put here dash dash close, and right here we want to open exclamation point dash dash. Here we go. So we want to leave just the H2 element in. Bam. Down the rabbit hole we go. Now, web developers traditionally use a lorem ipsum text, which for people who don't know, basically is literally just text from famous passages of Cicero, which is kind of funny. You know, I've actually read a lot of some older Cicero, and so did the founders of the U.S. of mother freaking A. So the text is used as placeholders, apparently since the 16th century. So people have just been continuing to do it. I actually didn't know the history of lorem ipsum text. That's kind of amazing. Now, well, 5 centuries is long enough. Since we're building a cat photo app, let's use something called kitty ipsum text. I don't know if this was just like a funny joke to like, or some homage to like famous cat things, like, I don't know, the keyboard cat, or like the grumpy cat, or it's some kind of feeling out or trying to like make girls like it more. But you know, we'll follow along. It's still funny. Replace the text inside our P element with the first few words of this kitty ipsum text. Okay, so we'll just copy and paste this then. Hello paragraph. Bam. Okay. Do it up. Hyper combo finish. Alrighty. Now, our phone doesn't have much vertical space. What? I mean, our phone does have a lot of vertical space. A lot more than horizontal space. Oh, no. Yeah, a lot more than horizontal space. But that's okay. So let's remove the unnecessary element. We can start building our photo cam. Delete the H1 element so we can simplify our view. Okay, and we just delete it. Yeah. Bam. Most efficient. Alrighty, now let's change the color of some of our text. We can do this by changing the style of the H2 element. The style that is responsible for the color of an element's text is the color style. What's up? How's it going? We are what? What's up, Friend Chestnut? How's it going? We're doing some coding with Nashi.
We are
learning the free code camp stuff. We're following the stuff. Actually, I knew about the so I learned something doing this. Yeah. I knew about the ipsum text history of it because I've actually read some Cicero before, but I didn't actually know it was a placeholder since like the 16th century. Like they've used that as text placeholders since then. Yeah. I had no idea. Like I thought it was just like a programming coding thing. I had no idea it was used for so long.
Yeah, I mean, they use it a lot in design and stuff too. Because when you're talking about like printed medium, right? Like if you're going to design something, you need to know how much space blocks of text are going to make up so that if it's all going to print when you actually put it through a printing press, right? Like you design it. So, yeah.
I had no idea.
For a long time.
I had no idea. I think that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So what do they have you doing?
We are changing. We are learning what styles you can do in heading texts.
Oh man.
Oh, we are. Sorry, I muted myself. We are learning how to do style. Changing the color right now. We're making a cat photo app, one piece at a time.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So like a web app, or?
Yeah. That's it's for a phone, I guess. Right now.
Okay.
But it's just starting you off with the basics, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more like an example of what it's going to look like. It's kind of cool how they have it in. They have the coding part embedded in one part of the website, and then they have like how it'll look like on a mobile app embedded in another part. Like look on an iPhone plus 6, I think this is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here.
You do that with your browser normally.
Yep. That's exactly how they have it. So now let's move on to the next part. Maybe. Oh, we want to change it to red. The example is blue, but we want to be red. There we go. Bam, you're heating up. Nice little NBA Jam reference right there. Oh, you can code together with other campers in your city by joining a local free code camp study group. Interesting.
Yeah.
Click the
Pretty
button
sweet.
below to open your study group directory. Find a local study group. Click it. This will take you to their Facebook group. Click the join group button. If I do that, I'll probably get kicked out because, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We better hold off on this one. Let's see. Study groups within 100 kilometers. I think it's funny that they use kilometers. Wow, there is actually one, like, not, I mean, the closest one for me is like 30 miles away.
Shit. I mean, that's not, seeing as how where you're at, I mean, it's far, but it's not.
Well,
You know.
I would think that it would be where I was at, to be perfectly honest. I live in the more, the largest metroplex area on the Gulf Coast, basically. I mean, aside from, you know, I mean on the northern part of the Gulf Coast. Not like the side of Florida, because you got, like,
Yeah.
that good old Pinellas County down there in Tampa, you know. That's probably... Actually, it might even be, Texas might have the biggest one. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. So, we'll, yeah, Sonic Boom. Nonprofits help pay for service and other costs. Okay, so it solicits a donation, which you are not required to solicit. I mean, are not required to, give. But, I'm sure after this we'll give some donations that we receive, live during this free code camp. We'll probably give, some of those to the, whatchamacallit, the free code camp itself. Now let's see, now we're going to learn how to use CSS selectors to style elements.
Ooh.
With CSS, there are hundreds of CSS properties being the operative word here, that you can change in a way an element looks on your page. When I entered H2 style color red cat photo app, I was giving that individual H2 element an inline style, which means that we've given it a style in the opening brackets itself, in the opening element itself. Now that's one way I can add style to an element, but a better way is using CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheets, which, by the way, I always have thought it was a cool word. Cascading, probably a really good way to describe what it is. Now, at the top of my code, I can create a style element like this. So let's open bracket style, and then we must close it to make sure it doesn't try and read all of our code as a style. Now inside that style element, I can create CSS selector for all H2 elements. For instance, we do H2, and we do open curly brackets, and oh, in the little thing it opened and closed it for us. That's nice of it. So because America basically invented this coding here, all these elements, the way you spell color is C-O-L-O-R without the gay European U.
Yeah. And all of these languages are in English. So, like, if a person in another country wants to learn a programming language, like anything, HTML, CSS, fucking C, Java,
that is true.
English.
It is all in English. And
so they have to learn the English ways of doing everything.
What we have to say about that is the West is the best, baby. Woo!
Yeah.
So, at the top of our code, we created this style CSS selector so that all H2 tags colors are red. So, it looks like that. Note that it's important that you have both an opening and closing curly brackets in the code. Obviously, the code, as soon as we opened it, it actually closed it for us, which is nice. We have them around each element style. You also need to make sure that your element style is between the opening and closing style tags, which we've done here. Finally, be sure to add a semicolon to the end of each of your element styles. And that's probably to close, to signify the end of a style. Usually the semicolons mean the end of this particular piece of code.
Yep.
In pretty much everything that I can remember.
Yeah, everything but HTML uses it for the most part.
Yeah, the HTML version is like the whole closing bracket.
Yeah. Well, there's also stuff that's like dot syntax too.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
It's a whole different ball game, but yeah, I mean, it's semicolons are usually just the end.
So now we can delete our H2 element style attribute and instead create the CSS style sheet. So we can delete this style inside of our H2 bracket, and it says we want to turn all H2 to blue. Let's turn this to blue. Bam, look at it. There it goes. It updated right there. Now, run the test. Bam. Bodacious. That's an awesome word.
Yep.
Alrighty. So let's see. So now we're going to use CSS class to style an element. Classes are reusable styles that can be added to HTML elements. Here's an example of a CSS class declaration. So we can make in the style, the class would be blue text. That is the class we want to run with. And then we can attribute any tags we want to have that specific class. So let's see. We've created a CSS class called blue-text. Now that's within the style tag. You can apply a class to an HTML element like this, putting it inside the opening tag, adding the word class, and then adding the particular class you want it to attribute to. Classes should start with a period in your HTML elements class declaration. Classes shouldn't start with a period. So you don't want to put the period in the class, in the HTML tag, but in the style CSS script to assign it a class. The period goes before whatever the word of the class you want to reference it to. So in our H2 selector, we want to change the H2 selector to do, so we'll do this. We want it to make red text. So dot red dash text. We want the colors to be red. Okay. And we want to give our H2 element the class specific to our style. So class equals open quotation red dash text. Bam. So now, as you can see, our thing is updated. So Cat Photo app has changed to red text. We've given it this particular thing, the class. See, if we wanted to do it here, we can do the same thing. Red dash text. And as you can see, even though we've assigned this paragraph to have the class of this style, and you can do lots of other things, but that's not what we're supposed to do here. So moving on, run the test. You rock. Of course I rock. I already knew that. Alrighty, now we're setting multiple elements with the CSS class. So, remember that you can attach classes to HTML elements by using this class, your class here, within relevant elements opening tags. Remember that CSS class selectors require a period at the beginning like this. But also remember that class declarations don't use a period. Like so. We want to apply the red text. Oh, that's funny. It's literally like I read the minds of the people who programmed this. They literally tell you to do what I did in the last section. That's insane.
Yeah.
So red dash text. Closed. Booyah. One for the Guinness Book. Oh, we're gonna do that eventually as soon as they freaking email us back, for God's sakes. Okay, so another thing we can control is font dash size. This is a CSS property. It looks like that. So create a second P element after the existing P element with the following kitty text. Okay, so we want a second P element like that. Inside the same style tag that contains your red text, we want to set the font size to 16 pixels. So we go font size colon, and we put 16 px semicolon. Okay. Now, inside the same text that contains your red text, create an entry for P element. Okay, the P element specifically. So, let's see. Yep, okay. We did it correctly, I think. Let's look at our checklist here. Between the style tags, give the P elements font size. Yep, text should be zoomed at 100%. The first element has the class of red text. Yep. Okay, we did it. Oh, between the style tags, give the P elements font size. Okay, so it looks like we want to make it outside of the red text style thing. So we want to do let's do this get a hint thing, see what it does for us. Okay. So it does kind of bring you to a thing. So we want to make one not for the red text, but just for paragraphs. So we go, I think we just put E. And then open curlies and close curlies. Want to do font size equals 16. There we go. Bam! Feel that need for speed. So we can set up an element's font by using the font family property. So that's how you give it the actual font type. For example, if you want to set H2 elements to font sans serif.
Sans serif.
I always say serif because, whoa, dude. You know.
Yeah.
Every time I see sans serif text, I think of like some crazy surfer from California.
Bro, dude.
Bro! Radical, yo!
Bro, man, dude. Shit.
Alrighty, so we want to make all of our P elements use the monospace font. Ooh, I like that font. Decent. So in our P element here. We're going to make a new line, and we're going to do font dash family colon monos. Oh, we got to capitalize the M. It's important. There we go. And semicolon. There we go. We're going to pump you up. Hans and Franz. Okay. Now we're talking about importing Google Font here. So, now let's import and apply Google Font. Note that if Google is blocked in your country, you will need to skip this challenge because you live in an oppressive regime. First, you'll need to make a call to Google to grab the Lobster font and load it into our HTML. Okay, so copy the code snippet and paste it at the top of your code editor. Okay, so it's basically just a link to the Google font. The REL, I think it's like relation to the type of text right here, the text / CSS. So now we can set Lobster as a font family on our value of H2. In my H2 element. Okay. So in the element itself, we'll do font dash family equals open quotations capital L Lobster. Bam. I don't think that worked. So, let's do it this way. Well, let's see if it worked. No, it didn't work. I think it's just font in HTML.
Maybe. Yeah, font family is like a CSS property. So.
Oh, apply the font family of Lobster to my H2 element. Well, maybe it is. Did I just misspell family or lobster? Get a hint.
Twitch.
Once imported, it can be used in the font family property.
Alright, there's the link.
Okay, let's see here. Well, let's just do it this way because we've been dealing with it the rest of the time. Do H2 open curlies on family Lobster.
Okay. Here, so when you're trying to write the style inside of that H2, like how you did, right? The way you do it is you have to have like style equals and then inside of quotation
Oh, that's
marks,
right. That's
your,
right.
have your
Style.
font family. Yeah.
That's right.
The style equals, and then inside of quotes, you would have font family, and then it would be right. So go ahead and take the quotes out.
Yep.
Yeah. Except for you want that on the end. All right.
Oops.
Font family, and then the same way you have it written up there, you'd have like the colon, and then Lobster.
Yep. And bam. There we go. I forgot that it was not asking me, or that it was asking me to put the style in the H2 thing as a style. Okay. So, now that we got that, Lobster looks weird, by the way. Just my opinion. The crowd goes wild. You can hear the crowd. Okay, whoa. Specifically, how fonts should degrade. These are several default fonts that are available in all browsers, and these included Monospace, Serif, and Sans Serif. I'm just kidding, Sans Serif. When one font isn't available, you can tell the browser to degrade to another font. That's kind of cool. For example, if you wanted the element to use the Helvetica font, but also degrade to the sans serif font when Helvetica wasn't available, you can use the CSS style font family. Oh, okay, so it's kind of like an order of operations. So you open up with what you want, and then the degrade one is next, and then so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go, the H2 font family Lobster, and we'll use monospace if it's not available. Now, comment out your call to Google Fonts so that Lobster font isn't available. Okay, so let's comment out that thingy-mabobber. There we go. Okay. There we go. You did it! On to the next one. Okay. Add images to your website. You can add images to your website by using the IMG element and point to a specific IMG's images. I called it IMG's images URL using the source attribute. An example would be this, yourimage.com. So all images must have an alt attribute. Inside an alt attribute, it's used for screen readers to improve accessibility and display, also to add to your Google ranking. So alt attributes for our image above. Where's the image? Oh, I gotta put it in this thing. Oh, here we go. Try it with this image. Okay, okay. So let's put. Let's see. Where do we want to put this image? And let's use this right here. Change the source of the image. And let's make the alt cute cats. There we go. Onward ho! Ooh, look at our thing here. Okay, so now we get to size our image. CSS has a property called width that controls an element's width. Just like with fonts, we use pixels to specify the width. For example, if we wanted to create a CSS class called larger image, have that HTML, that give HTML elements a width of 500 pixels, we'd use this larger image class. That'd be a class called larger image. And also, so we want to create a class called smaller image and use it to resize the image so it's only 100 pixels wide. Note, due to browser implementation differences, you may need to be at 100% zoom to pass the test on this challenge. Oh, okay. So the question is, do we want to put it in our style brackets, or yep, it looks like they're telling us to put it in the style brackets. So we'll make smaller dash image, open curly brackets, and we want to put width colon 100 pixels semicolon. There we go.
Said he wanted to do this. So.
Are you laughing at me?
No, I said you don't want to learn with Nashi. I was talking to Francesca.
Oh, learning with Nashi is fun and the best thing in the world. Let's put our class in here. Smaller. Let's put our class image. Oh, imager. There we go. Look at that. Bam, 100 pixels. So, did we pass? We did. Shiver me timbers. Now, the next one, we're going to add borders to elements. Okay, so CSS borders have properties like style, color, and width. For example, if we wanted to create a red 5-pixel border around an HTML element, we could use this class. This is a class they've created with border-color, border-width, and border-style. So now we need to create a class called thick green border that puts a 10-pixel wide border, green border around with the style of solid around an HTML element of the cat photo. Okay, so we want to remember that you can apply multiple classes to an element by separating each class with a space within its class. For example, class, and class 2. Okay, so that means we want to make another class of thick. Oh, and I don't want to capitalize that. Thick dash green dash border. And we want to open the tag. And we want to do border dash color semicolon green, or colon and semicolon end. Then we want a border dash width colon. They said they wanted it to be 10 pixels semicolon. Whoops, semicolon. And then we want it to be solid, so border dash style colon solid semicolon. Bam. So now we have our image class here, and we have one class here, and they said we can add multiple classes by just separating it with a space. So we can put thick dash green dash border around it, and bam! Look at that! Look at that. See if we can zoom in here. No, we can't, because there it goes. Whoa, look at that right there. We got a thick green border of text pixels. Go back out to 100%. Okay, so, and we're going to keep on trucking a little bit more. So, we can add rounded corners with a border radius property. So, we can specify a border radius with pixels to give our cat photo a border radius of 10 pixels. Note, this waypoint allows for multiple possible solutions. For example, we may add a border radius to either thick green border or smaller image. Now, since we're going to add a border radius, I'd say we put it in the border radius. We put it in the border itself that we're doing here. So we want to do 10 pixels, semicolon. Bam, look at that. Now that means that it's going to start... What this means is that it's going to start the rounding 10 pixels from the corners of the box, that's what the border radius refers to. So it's the pixels distance from the box on both sides of it. For instance, if we wanted to make it like, I don't know, 25. As you can see, look at that. Even more round. Let's do 40. Even more round. And then if we do the same width as the whole thing, 100, it's a circle. Duh. Yep. Because the width image is 100. So if you're going to start rounding from each 100, it takes the points at top, left, and bottom, and literally just makes it out all 100 pixels. So it's we're going to stick with the 10.
And if you don't know what the width is going to be, because maybe it resizes depending on whatever, you can put 100% instead. And
that's
then it will always, no matter the width, be a circle.
That is a great point. Same thing with, if you wanted it at 50%, like half to be, kind of an interesting thing. But we're going to put it to that one. We set it to 10. It's on like Donkey Kong. Now, I noticed here, going through these past 23, that a majority of these references seem to be from video games. That makes perfect sense, because you code video games. Okay. Now we can make circular images with the border radius. We were just talking about this. So we want to make it, we want to give our cat photo a border radius of 50%. 50%. Bam. Okay. So now we run the test. We're gonna pump you up. Oh, that... Okay, so it looks like it's random, because that's the second time I've gotten that pretty recently. That's interesting. Okay, so now link to an external page with anchor elements. A elements are also known as anchor elements, are used to link to content outside of the current page. Here's a diagram of an A element. In this case, the A element right here is used in the middle of a paragraph, which means the link will appear in the middle of a sentence. Here's an example. Blah, blah, blah. Now we want to create an element that links to this place, freecatphotoapp.com, as cat photos as its anchor text. So we can just create it anywhere? Okay, it doesn't tell us where to put it, so we're just going to put it right underneath the image. So A, href, that's a hyperlink reference, equals, and then for these we use just apostrophes. And then we'll copy and paste the link they want us to use. And then close the bracket. And then inside here we want the text for cat photos. And then we want to close our element. Bam. Go. Oh, there it goes. Look at that. It's got a link and everything. Now let's run the test. Keep on trucking. There we go. Now, we want to nest an anchor element within a paragraph. So again, here's a diagram of the A element for our reference. Nesting just means putting one element inside of another element. So now we want to nest our existing A element within a new P element just after the existing H2 element. Oh, look at that. I naturally knew where we wanted to go. So we're going to put this in a P element. And let's close the P element. Oh. There we go. I think that's it. Oh, here we go. And the view paragraph. Okay. So just after the existing H2, so the surrounding paragraph says view more cat photos. We want to do view. We can't spell view though. More. And then, oh, we capitalized it without even thinking. There we go. View more cat photos. Whereas cat photos is the link. And the rest of the text is plain. Okay, we got it. The rest of the text is plain. This is the link. Bam! It's on like Donkey Kong. Now let's see. We want to make dead links using the hash symbol. Now, sometimes you want to add A elements to your website before you know where they will link. This is also handy when you're changing the behavior of the link using jQuery, which we'll learn about later. Now we want to replace the value of our elements, A elements href attribute with blank, also known as the hash symbol. Turn it into a dead link. So, like so. Replace this. Bam. So there we go. Bam. Nothing but net. 2 basketball references? Now, I can't put the NBA Jam one in there with a normal basketball reference. I mean, maybe I guess that's a normal basketball reference. Just in the NBA Jam, but who knows? So now we want to turn an image into a link. So we can make elements into links by nesting them within an A element. So we want to nest our image within an A element. Here's the example. Okay, remember to use the hash as our A elements href. Make it a dead link. We want to place the existing image element within our anchor element. Okay, so we got our image right here. Oops, I'm going to copy it all. We want to go ahead and cut. And we want to put it in our... I think right here, I guess, right? Yeah. Bam. There we go. I'm gonna take out cat photos here. Okay, I think that's it. So our A element should be a dead link, which it is. Okay. Bam. Boom shakalaka. Okay, that's another reference that's in NBA Jam. So that's 3 now. I just want to point that out. Okay. Here we go. We're gonna create a bulleted unordered list. Okay, so HTML has a special element for creating unordered lists or bullet point style lists, as opposed to like a 1, 2, 3 ordered list. For example, an unordered list is the UL tag, and the list elements are the LI tags they contain. So, for example, this would create a bullet point style list of milk cheese. We want to remove the last 2 P elements and create an unordered list of these things cats love at the bottom of the page. Okay, so we want to remove the last 2 P elements, which are these. And we want to make an unordered list. So UL. And then, just from general practice, it's best to open and close all of your things at once. So now we have an unordered list here. Let's look a list element. And let's close it. Okay, and the best thing about this is we can, since we're going to put these 2 things, milk and cheese, in here, copy them. We put milk and cheese. There we go. Oh, look at that. Boom. Got little bullet points. And they're done. That's done. We're missing something. We should have, 3 elements. We're silly. So, the third element... they love love. So we're going to put love in there. Oh, no. I know what they love. Petting. They love petting. Putting that in there. Bring that rain. Now, I have a feeling that's another basketball reference, but I don't recognize that one in particular. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to do ordered lists or number-styled lists. Ordered lists are OL instead of unordered lists, which are UL. Thankfully, HTML and CSS are pretty dang easy to understand because almost all the tags are literally just the first word of whatever you're doing. So here we go. Just why LI is a list object. So... let's see, for example, Garfield Sylvester. So, create an ordered list of the top 3 things that cats hate the most. Okay, so... Oh, they already opened the paragraph for us, so we want to go ahead and put our OL, and then close it. Okay, 3 things. So, let's see. Loud noises. Or just loud noise. Dogs. And other cats. So, let's go ahead and run that. Even sad panda smiles. Booyah! Okay. So now, let's create a web form. So text inputs are a convenient way to get input from your users. We can create one like this. Input type text. Note that input elements are also self-closing. Okay. So this is one that doesn't require a closing. Create an input element of the type text below our lists. So below the list, we want to do input type equals open text close and close bracket. There we go. Bam. We got a little input to even Grumpy Cat approves. Told you Grumpy Cat was in here. So next we want to add placeholder text to a text field. So that's so that a text thing doesn't look blank. It just has text already in it that when you click it, it kind of goes away, I guess. So we want to put in the bracket here, we type placeholder equals open. This is placeholder. Oh, so we want to put in the text. Set the placeholder text to cat photo URL. Bam, look at that. Yeah. Type it up. So, moving on along. Coding spree. So, create a form element. So, a form, we can build web forms that actually submit data to a server using nothing more than pure HTML. We can do this by specifying an action on our form element. For example, form action / URL where you want to submit form data. Close form. So we want to nest our text field in a form element. Add the action submit cat photo to the attribute of our form element. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy this because we can. So we want to put the input text, we want to nest it in our form. So form, and then our action, and then we want to close that. And then on the other side of the input, we want to put the closing form. Bam. So we've nested our input field into a form, and the action will be to submit cat photo. Run the test. Bam! Down the rabbit hole we go some more. Man, this is, I'm not gonna lie, coding is interesting. And stuff like this, I mean, it's doing a real good job to make it interesting. Now we can add a submit button to our form. Clicking this button will send the data from our form to our URL specified with the form's action attribute. So we got to put a button. Here's a button. Add the submit button to our form element with the type submit. And submit as its text. Okay, so we want to do So I guess we want to put it after, don't we? So in the form. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, okay. So in the form action here, we want to make a button. Give it a type equal submit. So that's the type of button. And then we want to close it, make the text submit. And then close our button bracket. There we go. Inside the form, we have created the button. Here's the button right here. And it says submit. We can make it say something else. Woohoo! See, now it says woohoo, but people won't know what that means, so submit. Why submit is like the thing, because everyone knows what that means. Let's run the test. We got it all. Happy, happy, joy, joy. I don't even know where to stop with this, really. Okay, so we want to use HTML5 to require a field. We can require specific form fields so that the user will not be able to submit the form until he's filled out the field. Oh, that's like on every single sign-up thing. When it comes back, when you try and click OK, one of the fields isn't required, and it comes back and says, "You have not filled out all required fields." Okay, so for example, if we wanted to make a text input field required, you can just add the word required within our input element. So input type, here's the text, and then to make it required, it just means required. Apparently this kind of field does not work for Safari. So that's why we use PC. So we want to make our text input a required field. So input text, we're just going to put what the heck? Just going to put required. There. Did we spell that right? Yeah, we did. Okay. See how your HTML form notifies you. Those required submit. Oh, see, please fill out this field. Okay, that's cool. The crowd goes wild. Okay. So now, create a set of radio buttons. We can use radio buttons for questions where you want the user to only give one answer. So radio buttons are a type of input. So each one of our radio buttons should be nested within its own label. So the label is the element. All related radio buttons should have the same name attribute. So name is another attribute inside the element. Inside the input type, rather. So here's an example of a radio button. Type. Okay, so indoor. So add a pair of radio buttons to our form. It should have the options of indoor and outdoor. Okay. So where do we want to put this? Probably after the submit here. Okay, so input, whoops, open bracket, input, type equals, we want radio, and the name needs to be indoor with 2 O's. And outdoor. Okay. We want to close this and put indoor. Oh, okay, I see where this is going. The radio buttons means the little circle buttons. So we also want to make sure we put this in a label. Our own label tag here. And we want to close the input. No, we want to close the label. My bad. Inputs don't need closing. And put another one, label. Input type. Open quotations, radio. Whoa, where'd our cursor go? Okay, and we want to do the same name they said. So, indoor, outdoor. And we want to do outdoor. And close that label. There we go. So, we have 2 radio button elements now inside their own labels. So all the same related radio buttons should have the same name. So you can't, ones with the same name can't click both things. So if they didn't have the same name, let's just change it to that. Now we can click both of these, as you can see. That's why you have to keep them the same name, so that they can't do that. Okay, so let's run the test. Bam. More cowbell, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're gonna do this one last one, create check boxes, and then we're gonna end for today, just to see how this goes along, and we'll continue more of this tomorrow. We'll be between noon and 2 p.m. Somewhere in between there. You can follow me on Twitter at NoshiTCG. I will announce when, with a little bit of time, probably a 15 or 30 minute warning, maybe even an hour of when I will be starting this. But I did enjoy this today. So let's see. Forums are commonly used. They commonly use checkboxes for questions that may have more than one answer. Checkboxes are also a type of input. So each of our checkboxes should be nested within our own label element as well, and all related checkbox inputs should have the same name attribute as well. So checkbox is a type, and the name we're going to put as personality. So add to our form a set of these checkboxes, of 3 checkboxes. Each checkbox should be nested within its own label element. All 3 should share the same name, attribute of personality. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and copy and paste this right here, because if you can copy and paste something in coding, it's probably pretty good. So let's put this also. What in the world? That was weird. Okay. So we're making 3 here. Let's do loving. Let's see. What kind of personality? Jumpy. Let's put hyper. That's a good one. And another cat we should put. Let's make a funny one. playful. There we go. So we can test our checkboxes. Nice. Oops, let's move these above this other input thing. There we go. We want to put them under the radio checkboxes. There we go. And I think that's good. Bam. Spool up the FTL drive. That's funny right there. Okay, well, we're gonna end here today. I had a lot of fun doing this. I want to thank you all. Definitely be sure to hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Definitely be sure to hit that follow button on Twitch, and if you can, subscribe to me on Twitch as well. Also, we will be doing this probably. We're gonna do the free Code Camp thing probably every day until we finish it all the way through. Now, I don't know how long that'll be. We might do some things in between as well. Not doing the site specifically, like maybe once we get fairly decent at something, we'll make some fun little games, maybe like a copy of like Flappy Bird or Snake or you know, some other fun games like that. You know, we'll figure something out. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I want to thank you guys again for watching. Follow me at NashiTCG on Twitter. Also, YouTube/NashiTCG on YouTube as well. And please, don't forget to stop by and hang out anytime at twitch.tv/Nashi, where we play lots of games, mostly MMOs, but lots of games, and we're going to be doing this coding thing every day. I want to thank you all so much for watching. You guys have a great day. Peace.